Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, The Town Watch. My name is Josh Town. Thank you for stopping by today. In this video, we have in for review an elegant Swiss hand wind only dress watch from the brand Cimier. Cimier might not sound familiar to you. They have a history going all the way back to 1924, but they died off for a time after the quartz crisis, and they were rebought and revived in, I think, 2003, and they've been making watches ever since. They sent in this watch, which is the Petite Seconde, and it's an elegant piece, and I'm excited to show it to you today. They did give this watch to the channel, but I want to let you know that they had no say regarding anything that I can say or not say in this review, so everything is my own thoughts, and I'm going to share not only the good, but also some gripes that I have with this piece. So you're not going to want to miss this review, and you're not going to want to miss the beautiful movement in this watch. So stay tuned. Alright, well here it is, the Cimier Petite Seconde, and we're just going to jump right into the specs and features of this elegant piece. The model number is there. The movement is a Unitas ETA 6497-1, and I'll talk more about the movement here in a moment. The crystal is a sapphire crystal, both front and back, and the front has AR coating. Case material is stainless steel. It has a 5N rose gold plating. Don't ask me what 5N is, but that is from their website. Case diameter is 43 millimeters. Case thickness is 11.4 millimeters as I measured it. Lug to lug distance is 52 millimeters. Lug width is an odd 21 millimeter, and this is a genuine leather strap. There is 50 meters of water resistance, and as I weighed this watch, it comes in at 95 grams. So I mentioned the movement. The movement really is a wonderful, beautiful highlight of this watch. And I'm going to try and unbuckle the clasp here so I can look at the movement unimpeded as I talk a little bit about the Unitas ETA 6497-1. So that is the movement that they're using here in this watch. It's a movement that has quite a bit of history behind it as I was reading about it. Now, I'm not an expert by any means, but I believe it came out in the 1950s, somewhere around there, and it was originally purposed as a pocket watch movement. This is obviously, as you can tell, a hand wind only movement. It has 17 jewels, and it is non-hacking, and this one is 18,800 vibrations per hour. It has an approximate power reserve of about 44 hours. Now, this movement has been used in a number of different watches from a number of different brands, including Panerai. Panerai has used this movement in some of their watches, so is definitely recognizable and has been heavily used over the years, and is a very faithful and tried and true movement. And as you can see, they've decorated it very nicely here, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on to the review. My initial thoughts about this watch is that it is really a quality piece. The finishing is top-notch. There's a lot to like about this watch. There are a few gripes that I have, which I'll share as we go through, but overall I've been really impressed by this piece, and I think it's very unique. It's very modern looking, but elegant at the same time. Something I've also been impressed with is Cimier, the company's customer service. And I just want to share a quick story. They sent this watch in, and they sent it to me. They requested to send it to me. I said yes, and they very kindly sent it over. And I noticed something on the watch, that there was a white dust particle stuck underneath the sapphire glass here on the dial. And then when I flipped over the watch, there was also some particles that I noticed inside the movement underneath the glass. And I just made mention of it to Cimier and sent them some videos of what I was talking about, and they immediately said, without me saying anything, that they're going to ship me a completely new watch, no questions asked. And that's what they did. So this is not the one that you saw in the unboxing. It's the same colorway and everything, but it's a completely new watch. And they really took care of me when they didn't have to. I didn't expect them to do anything like that. I was just making mention. But that really goes to show you the customer service of a brand like this. And I always appreciate seeing that. And customer service really goes a long, long way. So shout out to Cimier for their good customer service. And I wanted to make mention of that here in this video. Back to the watch, the design and durability. Starting off with the case. The case finishing is really beautiful. And I don't know if I can really showcase it and highlight it to the level it should be showcased here on my iPhone camera. But it is a beautifully finished watch. Mostly polished, as you can see. Polished surfaces everywhere except for the tops of the lugs, where there is some nice, beautiful brushing. The case back is massive. It's massively open. It's a huge window, so you can see that large movement there and the beauty of the movement. And you can see that the case back is screwed down by a number of screws. I believe it's 8 screws, and held in place that way. And just a really beautiful case back, in my opinion. And speaking of the case back and having the watch flipped over, let's talk about the movement just a little bit more. Definitely one of the stars of the show of this watch, in my opinion. The finishing on the movement is really immaculate. It really is. It's beautiful, all the way from those blued screws that you get throughout, those exposed jewels. And I believe this is Geneva striping on some of these bridges, but it's really neat how it's kind of concentric circles all the way around those bridges. And I think it looks really, really nice how they did that. So, you know, I find myself looking at this movement quite a bit. The hand wind action really works good. The crown is there at the 4 o'clock position, as you can see. Satisfying sound to it. Everything works great. The crown is about a 6mm crown. Has a good knurling to it, and easy to use and easy to grip. And you can see that it is also signed there. The dial as well is something that is unique. You might say that it's blacked out in a sense, but really it's not a black color, and I'm not sure if it's coming through on the screen. But it's more of a dark gray and some lighter grays here on this dial. It has a modern and unique look to the dial itself, all put together, and it has some depth to it also. You can see that these rings that are here are raised up off of the dial, so you get some depth with that. And just an elegant looking piece. The dial is something that I didn't know how I felt about it initially, because it was something, you know, not traditional in any way, but it has grown on me for sure. I love the applied indices that are here. They've chosen to just put the even numbers, and you get the 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and they are applied very nicely. They kind of have a gunmetal look. They're definitely glossy in their sheen and shine, and they have a unique shape to them. The tops of the numbers are slightly bigger, and they kind of work their way down toward the center of the dial, which gives each numeral a really unique look. Everything is crisp and clean on this dial. I don't see any imperfections at all. You do get a gray chapter ring around the outside there, and the hands contrast really nicely in that rose gold color and make this watch legible against that black and gray dial that is there. And you can tell there is some writing also. It's very subtle. You can't really see it unless you turn the watch in a certain direction, but you can see there is Cimier written there on the dial, and they have Petite Seconde around the subdial over here, and some other writing down below as well. The subdial has these nice sun ray etching inside of it, and it looks really nice, and the subdial is done well also. So the dial, again, I keep describing it as something modern, not traditional, but everything is well done. And now, I haven't found this watch to be hard to read like some blacked out dial watches are, and that is mainly due to the large hands that are contrasting against that dark dial with the rose gold colors. Well, I've taken my Alpina Sea Strong Diver Heritage off because I want to talk about the strap and clasp of this watch right here. I do have some issues with the strap and clasp that I've found as I've been wearing this watch and been using it. Now, the issue is not with the quality or the finishing. Everything is really nicely done and nicely finished on the clasp, and there's really no issues with the strap as far as quality goes. But first, one of the issues is when I think of a dress watch, I feel like there should be some sort of taper to the strap or the bracelet that is on that watch. Here, there is really no taper at all. If there is any, I measured maybe a 0.5 millimeter from the lugs down to where the clasp is. So it's basically nothing. So it's just one kind of slab of strap, which you might like, but I feel like a taper is more elegant, especially on a dress watch. But maybe because this is a bigger piece, maybe that's what they were going for. I'm really not sure. Regarding the clasp, it looks great, but in my experience, the functionality is lacking a little bit here. I found the buttons to be a little bit sticky. Sometimes they don't really pop back all the way in place after you push them in. So I found them a little sticky is how I'm describing that, and the action isn't the smoothest when you push those buttons. Now, off the wrist, you can close the clasp pretty easily, but when I try and put it on my wrist, it is a little more difficult. You think you would be able to push it, just like so, and if you get it just right, you can, and sometimes it's hard to even detach. But I've found that only one side wants to push in until you really jam it. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I've had a little bit of trouble with this. I've found it easier to kind of put your finger underneath and snap it in place, but when you put on a watch, you kind of just want to snap it in, and it's harder than I think it should be, and it's not as easy to use as I would hope, or as smooth as I feel it should be. Also, when you're taking the clasp off, and even when you're pushing the buttons all the way down, sometimes it kind of gets stuck a little bit there. So those are just some issues that I felt I should mention, and perhaps Cimier is listening and they can work on making the functionality of the clasp just a little bit smoother and more pleasurable. Let's jump to the price of this watch. This price, the MSRP is 1,800 Swiss francs, which comes out to be roughly 2,000 US dollars. And I think it's a quality piece, so that is the price of this beautiful, elegant watch from Cimier. I'm going to jump back in front of the camera and share my final verdict of this piece. Well, I'm truly impressed by the quality and craftsmanship of this watch from Cimier. When they originally reached out to me, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know much about their brand, but I'm glad I've had hands-on with this piece because I can truly attest that it is a high-quality piece. The finishing is top-notch, and the attention to detail is really great. And I can encourage you to go to the link in the description and check out their lineup of watches, see if anything piques your interest, and I can attest to the fact that they are making high quality pieces. I wish this one was smaller, and I wish they would maybe try and make some smaller dimension watches. It seems like most of the watches in their lineup are on the larger side. And then also I hope that they can work on some of the issues that I mentioned regarding the clasp on this watch. But overall, I think this is an elegant and good looking piece and top-notch quality for sure. But I want to know what you think about this watch, what you think about the brand Cimier. Please share your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for tuning into this video today. If you enjoyed it in any way, please leave a like. It really helps out. But that's it for today. We'll see you next time here on the Town Watch.